Well, we just flew in from Austin, and boy, are our arms tired. Oh, it was that good, huh? Anyway, we want to do a quick little, Austin, Giga, Texas, Cyber Rodeo takeaway video today. This is going to be really off the cuff. I have a few notes here, but basically we're just going to chat. So let's talk about it. And for those of you interested in investing, check out WeBull, an amazing platform for buying and selling stocks, and now cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and others. Open an account and get a free stock valued at up to $200, and fund your account and get another free stock valued at up to $1,600. Check out the link in the description and help the channel at the same time. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All and...
Misinformation.
All right. Or John and Lane. We discovered that's number one takeaways. We really need to put our real names out there because it was a real pain to have to keep reintroducing ourselves. So anyway, we wanted to do a quick takeaways from the incredible 3 days that we spent down in Texas. A lot of highs, some very low lows, etc. And a lot of takeaways about the community, about Tesla, a whole bunch of things. So anyway, super busy. Real life has, come back in at full force. Absolutely. And so we're not going to be able to do a lot of edits on this. So it's going to be really kind of raw. I'll try to throw up a bunch of random pictures. They'll just sort of randomly be here. So anyway, if you just see a random picture of me plus somebody else in the middle of talking about something else, that's the reason why. Anyway, number one takeaway was we need to do more misinformation episodes.
Apparently. This is actually my first time in John's studio, not just in it, but at this, with the lights in front of me, and this is really hard. I don't know how you...
It took us a few times to just even get started today. So anyway, but the fan, like everybody there was like, oh, we recognize you. We want you on more. So there you go. We're going to do more misinformation episodes.
I think my feeling on that was always that I have a lot different take on it than what John does a lot of the times. And so I felt like nobody really wanted to hear what I had to say about it, especially because I feel like sometimes it's not the most, it's not rainbows and butterflies. I have a little bit of a, I don't know, just not as positive take on some of the things that John does. So.
But it turns out that reasonableness is probably a good thing. There's a lot of people who are spouses of people who are crazy Tesla people at the event, and they were like, yeah, we like your attitude because you're a little more normal, so there you go. Number two takeaway, don't scream the first day. Pace yourself. Still can't talk hardly at all. I don't know how you did it. You did a lot better job than I did, but I can't talk still.
Well, I didn't have to talk near as much as you did. So.
There you go. Number three takeaway, I really suck as an investor. There's a lot of people there who are like, oh, I love your show and thank you. And I put all this money in and now I'm retired. And I'm like, man, I really suck. In 2018, once Tesla got past that production ramp thing. Oh, and speaking of which, Mike, big shout out to Mike. We met him at the airport on the way back yesterday morning. And he's a Tesla employee out of Chicago. And I asked, he actually volunteered this. I didn't even ask him, but he said that during that 2018 almost going bankrupt Model 3 production ramp, he got pulled out of Chicago to the Fremont factory and got to work with Elon Musk on the line. So it sounds like it was pretty brutal. But anyway, it was a real thing. They were pulling people from all across the country to make cars. So anyway, that was really cool. But anyway, at that point, once they got over that, I really should have invested. It was stupid. But anyway, so much. I'm not retired, so otherwise we could be retired now.
You're a baby investor.
I'm a baby investor. I'm a wussy investor.
Just getting started.
Well, no, I'm a wussy investor. I've been investing since the 90s, but I just this much, Anyway. So such is life. All right, next takeaway, it's really weird to be famous. And I know we're talking about fame like this.
In a bubble.
In a tiny little bubble. That's actually another takeaway is it's a very small but very intense bubble. Although it's growing. Holy crap, with millions of people who are now Tesla owners. But anyway, it is really strange to just walk into a place and not be able to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I don't think we hardly ate.
Right.
We didn't get a lot of bathroom breaks.
We did get a lot of free drinks, so that was nice.
Yeah, we got a lot of drinks, but it was really hard to. I think for me, the craziest part was people noticing me and talking to me when I wasn't with John. I think that was the craziest, something that I didn't expect. But I don't know, or maybe we didn't have the conversation, and you knew and knew that would probably happen, but. heading into it, we hadn't had the discussion. So the first night getting there and just walking into the pub crawl that they had, immediately walking up, John started getting recognized, and then it was really hard to make his way anywhere past that because so many people were coming up. And I had not put that in my mind because we had discussed John saying, "Oh, I want to see this person and this person. I'm really excited to."
I was thinking about who I wanted to see and how like, ooh, those people. And it was kind of cool for it to be like people wanted to see me. And I mean, people who are way, 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 way more famous than I am, like, Sandy Monroe, Ross Gerver. I was trying to think of
John introducing himself, and then people saying, "Oh yeah, I know who you are." Like I watch your stuff, so it was.
Like Sawyer Merritt. I was like, there's no way Sawyer Merritt knows who I am, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I watch your videos," and I was like, "What?" So anyway, it's pretty wild, but a lot of really cool energy, really cool, intense
great
bubble.
Community.
Yeah, it's a great community.
Just amazing and so diverse as well. Just amazing.
And just as a for instance, I was just walking around and they were saying that Sandy Monroe, at the TeslaCon on Friday was selling these for people. This is, by the way, part of the stator of the Model S Plaid when he did the teardown. I don't know if you can see it, but his signature is like right there. So really, really cool. And I may do an episode on this by itself because it's really cool. There's a lot of very interesting little details about it. Yeah. But anyway, watch Sandy Monroe's video on the Model S Plaid teardown because it definitely shows
someone actually came up and gave that to John.
Yeah, I was going to go buy one and try to get Sandy Monroe to sign it. I know. Anyway, hit me up on Twitter. I'm sorry so much that I didn't get the name down and everything, but huge shout out to you for this. This is a really nice gift. It's going to get framed and it's going to get put back there. Place of pride on the set. So that was super, super cool. Also, I have a lot more gray hair than I thought. Like all the pictures from the side. Oh, all the pictures. How many pictures? I mean, oh my gosh. It was like everywhere we went, we're like, could you get pictures? Selfie. So it was really cool.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I was really taken aback by the people who wanted me to be in the picture as well. But I definitely took plenty of pictures for people. So I think I came in handy while I was there. For sure. People would hand me the phone, "Hey, can you take my picture?"
But she was in a lot of the pictures too. So I'm sure there'll be pictures around and people's things. So, it was also cool to see like my merch, like the t-shirts and things. And by the way, if you want to get stuff, it's in the description. So.
Yeah, that was really wild. There were so many people because I guess I was thinking, there were so many TeslaCon shirts and, different other YouTubers merchandise. And
Stephen Mark Ryan in particular.
Yeah, he had a lot. And then, so to have someone, pass by and they have on John's merchandise, or the day that we were at the park at the YouTuber meet and greet, having the stickers on the back of the car that was John's was really particularly cool. But and
by the way, my Tesla weekend, Brian, big shout out to you for putting that together. That was a really cool meet and greet. That was really nice.
It was amazing. Yeah. And then actually at TeslaCon we were in the line and somebody noticed your shirt but not you, and they were like, "You have on a Dr. Know-It-All shirt." And I was like, "That actually is Dr. Know-It-All." And he was like, "Oh."
Yeah, that was very
that
cool.
kind of thing. Yeah.
That was actually that was maybe the best experience with somebody. So. Like the levels of recognition is like, "Oh, I know that shirt." And then it's like, "Oh crap, that's the guy." So anyway. Yeah. Also my Patreon patrons are the best. We had a lunch. Best. At 3 o'clock on Wednesday, late lunch, early dinner. Anyway, super, super good conversations. I saw most of you the rest of the time, even though it was complete chaos, I saw a lot of you the rest of the
So glad
weekend.
we did that though, because that was a moment that you could sit down with just them and really talk to them, and it actually got really big. So I actually felt bad leaving that you weren't able to get as much one-on-one time with each of them there as well, but it was chaos from that point on. So I'm glad that we had that time to chat with them. Such a great group of people.
It really is. Yeah. And also, by the way, I think June-ish, we're probably going to do a road trip down to Starbase. So, so I've already been talking to the Patreon patrons about getting in there. So anyway, if you want to join, check out, you know what to do. Anyway.
We'll post the dates.
We'll post the dates, yeah. But anyway, I'm hoping that we can get a little mini caravan together. It might be kind of fun to go down there and check out, because we didn't get a chance. We had to fly back home again. So anyway, because of the real world. So anyway, I think the next takeaway, at least for me, was it's the fact that this group of people is still so passionate as Tesla gets as big as it does, says a ton about Tesla, right? There's no official advertising, though, of course, that's what this Cyber Rodeo really was. It was very, very good advertising, but I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But I don't know if you wanted to. It's really cool. Like, it's one thing when there's like 1,000 people that have bought a Tesla Roadster or something. It's just a completely different thing when it's millions of people who have bought the car.
Yeah, and I guess that says something about how many people showed up, is that it doesn't happen very often.
Right.
So it's a really big deal when something like this does.
Right. And speaking of that, I mean, we're going to tail off a little bit into sort of perhaps bigger issues here now, but I think it's like the fact that Tesla did what they did, it is advertising, but it's completely disruptive advertising. For the approximate cost, let's say, or maybe 2 Super Bowl ads, but 1 to 2 Super Bowl ads plus the cost of making the ads and all that stuff, they created an event that people are going to talk about for a decade, probably, right? This is 5 to 10 years. Do you remember the Super Bowl ads anymore? Maybe 1 out of the whole thing, right? How much more cost effective is this to create an event like this? And you got all the most passionate people who are there, except for 1 apparently. But anyway, you get all the passionate people. They're super excited about it. They're going to keep talking about it. They're going to do YouTube videos about it. They're going to put it on mainstream media. I watched the thing, Stephen Mark Ryan's video this morning. Actually makes me a little bit scared about stock investing because the mainstream media is catching up and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a real new thing. And that was pretty much amazing. So, they spend the money in a very effective way. I think that was a really cool takeaway from that. And then you let the people do your advertising for you. I also think it was amazing to see so many young people at the beginning of this whole rodeo, at the beginning of this whole thing back in 2008 or 9 when the Roadsters came out. It's mostly older people who are wealthy, probably mostly men. I think that's a generalization, but anyway,
probably younger people that were wealthy too.
Yeah, but it was relatively small, and I think it was a relatively older crowd just because it takes a lot of money to be able to purchase something. But it's just incredible to see how many young people there are. There's a lot of people who didn't own a Tesla yet, but it was it was their grail car. It's like the thing that they want to get. So really amazing. The diversity of people. Oh my gosh, the guy from Australia, from Sydney, I can't remember his name. Sorry. Anyway, it's just an amazing group of people. He came all the way across the world just to volunteer at TeslaCon and help out, and it was just so cool. And we got to talk.
Everybody was just so awesome and friendly too. Yeah. It was amazing, and I guess that's what it is whenever you get together like that and you're all interested in the same thing, right. Because plenty of people know that John has a YouTube channel, family and friends and, things like that. And we tell them, and it's like, oh, whatever. And you don't really think about it. John does these videos and kind of shoots them off into the internet. And then,
Right.
we go about our daily lives and don't think about it. But then you get in this bubble where everybody's interested in that thing. And it's
Right.
like, oh, okay.
Wow. And I mean, there were people who have watched my videos since they were like, oh gosh, before you were even like a Tesla person. I was like, because this channel started off, if you look way down deep in the archives, you can find videos that were before I started talking about Tesla stuff. So anyway, if you feel like wasting some time one day. So but it's weird because I'm used to sitting in the basement and just firing off stuff into the void. So It's kind of cool to see that there's actual real faces attached to all of that. But anyway, in general, I think the young people, you want young people involved in any kind of movement if you're really going to expect it to grow. And there's so many young people and it's so awesome. Also, big takeaway, we need to know the community more. It was quite obvious. This was the first big event that we had gone to, and it was like, it's that kind of networking thing and the social networking aspect of it. So that's definitely a lesson for us to take away.
Oh, and huge shout out to, we'll just call him Harvey because
why your name is Harvey.
He didn't really want us to use his name or pictures or anything like that or feel the need that we had to.
Right.
But he was just so great and probably my favorite person that we met while we were there. But he was, people that we didn't know, he was bringing over to introduce and make those introductions and just really made the weekend a lot better. So huge fans of Harvey.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And next time we're in the area where you are, we will definitely look you up.
100%,
so there you go.
Yes.
So there you go. Speaking of that, I think I'm actually going to start an Athens area Tesla Owners Club because it doesn't look like it's there. So that's
check into that.
Yeah, that's a definite aspect of things that I didn't realize the Tesla owners clubs were kind of weirdly almost semi-official with Tesla. You don't just like set one up. Tesla has to actually validate it, and it's kind of a bridge between the customer and Tesla itself. So anyway, that's an obvious thing to do. So I think we're going to try to start. As if we have any more time.
I think first we should join the Atlanta.
Yeah,
one.
I mean, I think I actually already am a member of the Atlanta one. But anyway, but I think
just get more involved in
get
that
more
kind
involved.
of way.
So it's like a community thing. Get more involved. So anyway, that's really, really cool. Okay, so a little bit from well, I guess from the factory thing, again, didn't get in, which is super sad. I actually saw the outside of the factory a lot, right? We got to see a lot, and we got a lot of sun while we were out there looking for it.
Yeah.
But inside the factory, like if you look at Sandy Monroe's video that he did and everything, people are mind-boggled by the factory. The factory is amazing. They've got a tiny little corner of the factory that's going to be the world's biggest battery manufacturing plant. And it's just a little baby corner of this thing. And they have room to expand. They bought so much acreage. They could easily build a Gigafactory 2 right next to the other one on the other side of the Colorado. Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, scale is incredible. They're completely radical. Dave Lee, I have to give you some credit at TeslaCon on Friday. He was talking about Elon Musk and Tesla doubling down over and over again. It was really cool to think about it that way. Elon Musk, people ask, I finished reading Ashley Vance's book on him, which was in 2015. And at the beginning of the book, he talks about Elon Musk asked them the question, do you think I'm insane? And yes, the answer is yes. Because sane people would not do what he did. He kept doubling down. Instead of ordering parts from other people and putting a car together, build your own thing, vertically integrate. Instead of getting another company to do the AI software for you and partnering with them, build your own. Starting a rocket company. I mean, that's insanity. But you have to have somebody who's kind of insane in the best way possible to be able to make this stuff happen. So it's really, really radical. You can't think reasonably. You don't think like a good business. You don't take quarterly profits or things like that. This is the reason why Elon Musk and his companies are so potentially world-changing. I personally, maybe the biggest takeaway is I feel incredibly lucky. I feel like the 2020s are going to go down in history as the largest transition of the world that's not a wartime thing. I hope we don't have a global war. I mean, geez. Hope the Ukraine, that'll be a big transition if there's a global war. But assuming relative peace stays throughout the decade, it will probably be the largest decade of transition in history without a global war driving it. So that's, it almost makes me cry thinking about that. It's like, what a privilege to be alive at this point in time to witness this. It's accelerating and nobody really understands. But when we look back in 2035, we'll go, wow, we were really living through something. So I think that is perhaps the most important takeaway is we are really lucky to be alive right now. The doubling down, all of that stuff. Dave Lee, good job. And so
all
definitely,
of the panelists had some really insightful
really
things
excellent
to say.
stuff. So, okay, and this information is from somebody who I'm not going to identify, and about a company specifically I'm not going to identify, but I have really, really solid knowledge of this. Other legacy auto manufacturers are utterly terrified of Tesla. Like, not just scared, but like, white sheet, they're utterly terrified of Tesla because they're actually finally waking up to realize it's a juggernaut. I mean, if they can make 20 million cars a year and they can make this robo-taxi, and by the way, I did a video on that, so you should definitely check that out. I'll put a card to that at the end of this video. I have no voice, but I think my points are super valid. But I think that if they can do the robo-taxi thing and disrupt people purchasing cars at the same time that they can ramp to making 20 million cars a year by 2030, nobody else is going to be in business. They're just essentially going to eat it all. And what we're going to see is an inverse curve from legacy auto. I'm going to do an entire video on that, so I'm saving that for later. But anyway, we're going to see an inverse curve. It's going to be interesting.
I think for me, actually, not really understanding or being as interested in all of this as John is, or knowing that kind of industry, but then being there and hearing everything that everybody was saying and kind of putting some of those little bits and pieces together. I think after this weekend, I actually realized and thought, oh, that's what all of this means. As someone that's just kind of that was in that bubble, but is normally outside of it and doesn't really pay a whole lot of attention. And then putting those pieces together, even I was like, oh, that's what's happening here. I didn't quite understand, and just feeling like I'm someone from the outside looking in and starting to see that myself, and living with someone who is obviously talks about it nonstop and gets it, and that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, that's what you mean by all of that. That's ooh.
Yeah. It's a pretty big deal. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think, in short, nobody's going to catch Tesla, and they're going to only expand into other markets. For example, the Teslabot, right? And by the way, we came up with the first Teslabot Home Edition. I know they're going to be in factories first, but the Teslabot Home Edition, the very first thing it needs to learn how to do is take the clothes out of the dryer and fold them and put them away. If it does
Absolutely.
that, it will be
Yes.
worth. I don't even care how much I don't care how much money it costs. I'm buying one.
Yeah.
So
All
it can
in.
do one thing. And that's all it has to do.
As a couple who shares those chores, John's really good about taking them out and making them land at the dining room table. He'll even
Where they
fold
sit
them
in
up.
a big pile.
He'll even fold them up, so he doesn't just leave them there in a pile. He'll fold them up. But then me having to be the one to take them and disperse them to the places that they go, we would love for that to
maybe they
be a
could
thing.
release Teslabot Laundry Edition. But I know it's going to be a general purpose robot. But I'm just saying that is a killer function. That is a killer functionality for it to have. By the way, digital software management, if you haven't caught Joe Justice's video on that, definitely watch it. It's world changing. I'm going to try to get Joe Justice to come and have a chat with me, on this channel about that, because it is world changing.
We had several moments where we were able to kind of hang out with Joe and his wife Miho.
Oh, they are
the
awesome.
Greatest couple.
They
Just
are such a
really
cool
awesome,
couple.
really humble, and just so genuine and nice.
Right.
It was amazing. Really, really a highlight.
Thank
of
you
the
guys.
weekend.
And yes, there were just so many kind people. It really was amazing. The energy and the kindness. There just weren't people who were like, man, get away from me. It was just amazing. I thought that was really remarkable.
Well, it's another thing that I brought up with you, and I know you've said it before, that you wanted, like, having the lunch with your Patreon members and anybody that wanted to come up. You wanted to make yourself accessible to speak to people, because you know how excited you get at the opportunity of potentially meeting someone that you were really interested in. But that's the bigger thing has to do with Elon, because we were mentioning, and even before we went, John was tweeting out things, that he was hoping Elon would see to try to get a ticket into Cyber Rodeo. And the thing is that it actually could happen. It's not like there is the potential that he could see it and he could just decide, yeah, I'll do something like that. And with other people, or it's not that attainable. It's like, I'm not even going to try because it's not even going to happen. But with him, it actually could happen. And I think that a lot of the YouTubers were also like that. So they were really humble and really nice and really happy to talk to people, in that space whenever they came up and just wanted a picture and wanted to have a chat. And so that was I don't think we saw anyone who was, unwilling to do that. So it was just really amazing.
It was. I mean, there were busy people, obviously. Yeah. But it was incredible, because I don't know, there's a hierarchy and it's kind of weird, but everybody, everyone was being super kind, talking to anybody else. It was really pretty amazing. One other takeaway, I've started to think in TSLA, Tesla shares. I've started to go like, okay, this thing is going to be worth so much money. It's like, do I want to buy a computer that's $1,500? Well, that's 1.5 Tesla shares. Is it worth buying a computer for $1,500, or do I want to buy that? So it's a kind of interesting thing to think about. It's like, is it really worth it? And somebody made a joke. I posted that on Twitter this morning, and somebody made a joke and said, you better watch out after they do for their split. You're going to worry about going to the grocery store, because you're going to be like, oh gosh, that's a share of Tesla I just spent on groceries. So,
I saw that. That's really funny. John talked me into joining Twitter.
Oh yeah,
so
and she's on Twitter now. The OG misinformation.
I started getting all of these Twitter messages and things like that, and I woke up this morning. I think I had over 100 notifications, and I told John, I was like, I don't know that I want that.
I know, it's a giant vortex of
very cool. Yeah.
And the very last one is Tesla can throw a hell of a party.
Absolutely.
What are you going to say?
Even the ones that they're not throwing.
Right. Yeah. TeslaCon the day after the is it Austin Tesla Owners Club? Or anyway, Tesla owners of Austin. I can't remember how that all goes together. But anyway, Anwar, all you guys, amazing event.
Amazing.
That was incredible. It was so professionally put on. I was blown away by it. So anyway, fantastic
There was a dinner
job.
on Tuesday before we even got there. On Wednesday, we had a meeting with John's Patreon members, but then that night there was a pub crawl that ended up not being a crawl because there was so many people there.
It was a pub stay.
It just stayed in the same place. And then there was the Tesla Owners Club didn't put it on, but there was a meet and greet YouTubers at the park.
That Brian did.
Just before the Cyber Rodeo. And then TeslaCon, obviously, and then there was a VIP event after TeslaCon where we went to another party, which caused us to get 2 hours of sleep before we had to get on the plane.
We didn't get back to our hotel till 1 and had to get up at 3. It was pretty brutal.
So we were pretty exhausted, but just all of the events and all of the places that you could actually go and show up and meet different people and network was amazing. So they did a great job outside of, not being able to go to the Cyber Rodeo or
next time,
kind of
the Tesla Cybertruck delivery event in January next year. I'm targeting that one now. So.
I feel like John and John doesn't think about things in the past. So once it was passed, he was like, okay, well it's that's it. But I feel almost like you got this new artist snub kind of thing. It's like I'm good enough that a lot of people knew who I was, but I'm not quite there to where I knew who.
Well, ironically, after the event, I found out that there were a number of Tesla employees that had seen me from inside and knew who I was. I was waiting for somebody outside to go like, I know him, come on in. But the universe didn't want me to get in. I literally was 10 seconds from getting in and they closed the gates on me. I mean, it was a 6-hour brutal ordeal. So there's a whole, I don't know, the world's saddest song on the world's smallest violin, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe you'll get a chance to tour the factory because John's thing wasn't actually the party or the, any of that kind of thing.
I wanted to see the Cybertruck and the factory. That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah. So,
and Elon, of course. So anyway, Elon, if you ever want to sit down and have a chat to make it up to me, you're more than welcome, right? There you go.
Maybe,
all
who
right.
knows?
Yeah, someday maybe it'll happen. All right. Anyway, we are going to sign off. Thank you again all so much for watching, for being part of this whole journey. Let us know in the comments what you think, and definitely sign up for a Patreon if you're interested in that road trip down to Starbase this summer. And I don't know. Aside from that, thanks so much. We'll definitely feature misinformation or Lane more. And in the meantime, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.